All right, we got some breaking news. We're going to start the show with this December 15th, playoff week. Breaking news that just came our way, courtesy of Heather Dinich, CFB Heather on Twitter. Can confirm, this is from Heather Dinich, CFB Heather, can confirm Marcus Freeman has agreed to a long-term contract extension, believed to be a 4-year extension that locks him up for 6 more years, according to a source.
6 more years, baby.
It is huge, baby.
Marcus Freeman did it.
Marcus is our guy, baby.
The extension is signed. It's on ink. PDB listened and delivered. Just another delivery by Pete Bivacqua. And I think that this might be just truly like the Freeman era.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the Freeman era. He's got his hands all over everything at this point. You know, it's we're in a good place, as everybody knows. We're here on this podcast talking about the playoffs. I think a lot of people probably didn't think that was too conceivable after that one game in September. But yeah, so anyways, welcome. We wanted to break the news before we kind of got started on this podcast today. But we're here to talk about the Notre Dame versus Indiana matchup coming up in just a short 5 days. Nate and I are going to talk about it. We got Jeff Stribjek on as well, one of our Dos Leprechauns writers and mediators. So, Jeff, thanks for joining us. I know it's kind of rough on a Sunday afternoon, so we appreciate you being flexible.
No, absolutely, guys. It was an easy decision anytime I could get to talk about Notre Dame football because I know my wife gets sick of it. So why not talk to people who actually care?
If you guys are watching, we're gonna have to just go ahead and terminate Jeff because he's not wearing freaking green. What the heck, man?
There's a little bit of green.
There's like green.
Stop it. A little bit. Stop. I'm wearing Notre Dame. Let's just
the little strings on his sweater green.
I have strings. I got green. The leprechaun.
Yeah. I would just like to say, Coach Freeman just released some statements per an ESPN article. I'm just going to read those real fast. I am grateful for the support of the Board of Trustees led by John V. Hamer, President Father Bob Dowd, and Director of Athletics Pete Bivacqua. Freeman said in a prepared statement, "The investment they continue to pour into our program is invaluable to our student athletes and staff. This commitment goes well beyond myself as they are dedicated to ensuring all aspects of our program are competitive within the upper echelon of college football." And that's in an article by ESPN and, again, Heather Dinich, the senior college football insider.
Huge for recruiting, huge for morale, huge for his assistant coaches, the longevity of the program, the strength of the program. What Freeman's been able to do in a short amount of time is truly incredible, man. Like Jeff, here's a good question for you. When's the last time you can remember this much, what's the word I'm looking for? Excitement, I guess I'll just call it, in Notre Dame land?
I would have to say probably 2012 when we went to the national title game with the expectations that we had a chance. But I think that was the first real time, and we've been pretty much grounded since. I believe in my mind that there has been an excitement since Marcus Freeman has walked through the door with a lot of the majority of people, but now I think it has just shot up to a different level because of what he has accomplished in his short 3 years, actually 4 now, with all things considered being the DC. I personally think that we have just an assortment of Notre Dame fans coming out of the weeds, believing, instead of, oh man, we're just going to run into another SEC team, or we're going to be 10-2. I know that was a common phrase back in the era of the angry Irishman, Brian Kelly. But I think this is the most excitement I think I've had since 2012 because of the expectations now that are set. And just hearing those expectations out of Marcus's mouth is just that much more. It means that much more, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
I think you make a great point. I think I had a lot of confidence going into 2018, just because I think that was my first Notre Dame team that I really felt connected to. And I think everybody has that 1 year. But this year it kind of feels like, that the team is connected. They're firing on all cylinders. They're playing with moxie, playing with swag. They got the swag from Freeman, signing that extension today, headed into game week. That's huge. Like,
Yeah,
the amount of excitement around the program right now is nuts.
underrated take there, Nate. The excitement
Big time.
bring is going to be palpable.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have these guys running around like chickens with their heads cut off with excitement that, hey, look, not only are we here, it's not going to be good enough for Notre Dame to just make the playoffs anymore. We need to make a run, and we need to show everybody that we are a different program now. And for the next 6 years at least, Freeman's going to have this team ready to rock and roll. So I'm just beyond excited and so excited for this. I mean, there was a lot of people hitting me up like, is Freeman going to go to the NFL and this and that? I don't think there was ever any doubt in my mind that he would not be leaving, at least not after this year. And this just solidifies that. So, man, just huge breaking news to bring you guys. So we're here to talk about the playoff game against Indiana, the battle for Indiana. I want to start off by saying that I invited at least 25, and I'm not even kidding you, 25 different accounts on X to join us on the show today. And all they had to do was DM us, and we'd send them the link. And oddly enough, nobody took me up on that. So it's just going to be us knuckleheads talking about the Irish, and we don't get to hear anything from the Indiana folks. But what's with the confidence from these guys, man? I mean, I feel like I'm more confident in this game than I should be because I'm usually like a worrywart when it comes to games. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed win. It's going to be a tough game, but I feel pretty good. But these Indiana fans are coming out of here thinking that they're going to come in and steamroll us.
Well, I mean, it's something that they're not used to. And they have been impressive under the circumstances of beating the teams that they should beat. They went into Ohio State and I think got grounded a little bit as a team, not as a fan base. I think the fan base is still pretty high. And I think in the context, that same fan base thinks that we're the Notre Dame of the NIU game because it seems like anyone that you talk to is going to bring that game up. And it's like beating an old drum and it's like in one ear, out the other. I think they're good. I don't think that they have faced a skill set that on both sides of the ball that they will when they enter South Bend on Friday. And not only that, I think there's a lot of circumstances around Notre Dame proving themselves even further. And Marcus Freeman's press conference today pretty much alleviated any kind of like downfall looking ahead. We're gonna look ahead and scout. There was a question by one of the writers that said, "Hey, are you scouting future opponents?" And Marcus is like, "Once we got the task at hand with the team that we got, we went into game focus. We're playing IU this week, and that's who our game is. Our game is to prepare for IU." And that's what I loved about Marcus. And the win now mentality has been since September. What was it? September 7th.
Yeah,
we've been in that mode for 3 months now, guys. So I don't think that pressure. Now, granted, there's going to be butterflies. I don't think that pressure is as much on Notre Dame as it is on IU, because they lost their one game late, and then they pretty much got a push into the CFP with being 11-1 or whatever they are. Notre Dame had to play every week for their life. So I think that's going to be a very, very crucial mindset for Notre Dame fans going into this, that we've been living on edge for 12 weeks now, 11 weeks now.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have gone either way, and I think that they took care of business. You made a point in our text group, actually a couple of you guys did, when you talked about the SC game really being the game that we needed to kind of wake us up a little bit.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really liked about that game, and really the fallout, I guess you could call it, from the game, was just that there was an attitude, right? Like, I can't believe we let these guys score whatever they scored on us. I can't believe we just but that's I would say that SC, and I might get killed for this, I would say that they're more talented top to bottom than IU.
I would have to agree. And I mean, people are like, "Oh, you beat another backup quarterback." Jaden Miava or Maivia, that kid had the game of his life against Notre Dame. I mean, he played 3 quarters. He played 3.5 quarters of mistake-free football, and 2 picks cost him that game. I mean, he was within 20 yards of tying that game. But once again, we go back to the Notre Dame defense. Yes, we gave up however many yards. Yes, Christian Gray got burned 2 times, 3 times, however many times. But look at the guy who stepped up when we needed him the most.
Yep.
And I think we found an identity in these guys where they're going to come to play. It's the next play mentality, not the poor me. Other guys will be able to come in and make those plays, not me. No. Christian Gray said, let's go. Next play.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, that's just what I have to say about that. And even Leonard Moore, like, those guys are on the field for every damn snap,
And as young contributors, who would have thought that we'd be sitting here week 1 of the playoffs getting ready for our opponent with Christian Gray and Leonard Moore as our starting corners. Ben Mo's gone with the injury. Jaden Mickey went into the portal. So those 2 guys should be commended for the play that their play. Leonard Moore was just named a freshman All-American, which is huge. I mean, him and Anthony Knapp, that's
and
big.
the Napper got it, I think, too. And
he did.
That's
big.
So impressive. So impressive for guys who I don't think were buried on the depth chart. I think Knapp was more of buried than Moore. I think they knew that they were going to use Moore, I think, as the course of the season went on, because we actually started to have sightings of Leonard Moore pre the BMO injury. So, but Knapp came out of nowhere. I remember our text thread, like when we named Wagner and Knapp as our 2 tackles. It was like, I grabbed my phone. I go, Anthony Knapp. I'm like, oh shit! It's like, oh man! It's like, oh man! Like we're really going down in the depth chart here. And that was another thing that Marcus said today. Depth. Our depth is just it's incredible. I mean, you guys. I'll let you go here, but from defensive line to our secondary to our offensive line, it's just been mind blowing.
One of the things we talked about a minute ago when you talked about the excitement level with Coach Freeman and that kind of stuff and just the energy around the program. I don't know if everybody saw first of all, the interview with RG3 on the podcast, Out of Pocket. I highly recommend it. We posted on our page everywhere. Really, really good with Riley, Jeremiah Love, and Coach Freeman. And just the attitude, but not like a cocky attitude from those guys. It tells me a lot about where this team's heads are at going into this week. Jeremiah Love was very, very candid about the leap and then smashing the guy. Riley Leonard was very, honest and open about some of his struggles early on and where he's at now. And then Freeman just being Freeman, just talking like a regular dude, just shows me that there's not this like nervous anxiety going on. So I love the body language. I love what's being said. And I just pray that that's what we carry onto the field Saturday. Jeff, if you had to say one thing right now about this IU matchup that would keep you up at night, that you're like, man, we absolutely have to do this thing, what would it be?
I think it's just prepare for their defensive line, because they have a formidable defensive line, and it's something that we can't just underestimate. They have 2 guys on the interior that could get to the quarterback, and that's James Carpenter and I think it's Mikhail Camaro, who is a transplant from James Madison, and he's normally in the backfield 2 out of the 4 plays, and he's just quick. He's quick. If you look at their front 4 and the size of their front 4, it's not going to blow you away with like a 280-pound guy that has just built a muscle. They have some smaller defensive tackles and ends on the edge, and they're quick. And one of the things Marcus said in the press conference today is they run a unique defense. They want to play fast, and they want to play with different stunts and have just a unique look for that offense to get Denbrock thinking. And I think a counter to that is Marcus said, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive regardless. And we're not going to play, as Tim Priester said, he was like, football. Marcus said it again today. We're not going to play football to their scheming us. We're going to play aggressive, they stuff us, we adjust. And I think Notre Dame's done a great job of that in essentially every game this year from half to half.
And they can only stop Jeremiah Love so many times. I mean, at some point, he's going to break one and do something stupidly athletic, hurdle somebody, flip into the end zone. Whatever it is, break away from a bunch of tacklers. He's going to get his shine. And I'm really happy with the way that Riley's thrown the ball. I mean, yeah, he had the pick against SC. I think it was more of a missed route or
miscommunication. Yeah,
exactly. But the throw to Eli Reardon was money, absolutely money. And then the throw to Mitch. I mean, he's putting it where he needs to be.
You couldn't have put that any better with just like stopping Jeremiah Love. That's only one of the three.
Right.
Are you going to stop Jeremiah Love, who is enough to handle by himself, on top of Riley Leonard and J.D. Price, and with the possibility of Aeneas Williams given a change of pace? What are you going to do how can you go into an IU film session and say, how can we prepare for these three?
Right.
You just can't. You just can't.
Right.
And I mean, they did a good job against Travion Henderson and Judkins. Will Howard was non-essential in the first half and then kind of put it together in the second in their Ohio State game. But they need to look at that game and magnify that by 2 or 3 with Notre Dame's horses. And that's my take.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough to stop. You said 3 of them. I say 4. Riley Leonard's running game is so underrated, and I think it's one of the most underrated parts of the team. Like, you can't game plan for all 4 guys. It's impossible. Notre Dame can and will run it at will against these teams. They just haven't shown that, they want to. They're not gonna force the run every single play. They're gonna mix it up. So
sure.
I expect them to run it down their throats on Friday, though.
Yeah, against a number 1 rated run defense. Let's remember that, boys. It's Sunday at 6:45. So let's remember that number 1 run defense.
And they are, like you mentioned, the D line is formidable. They've got some dudes. We went up against the Texas A&M defense in College Station, probably more formidable. And I think it was our O-line's first start together. You've got 11 more games under their belts now. You've got some real battle-tested warriors out there. And again, the running backs are just clicking on all cylinders. I would say my only concern that it not really has me up at night, but I'm a little bit leery of is it's been 3 weeks since they played football. Sure. And I know they're practicing, they're going full bore and all that kind of stuff, and they'll have a good week of practice. But sometimes that rest can be a little bit deceiving, in my opinion. Whereas, IU played against Purdue a couple weeks ago. So they're a little bit more fresh, but I also think that that's going to help with the fact that we get Howard Cross back, who I think is going to have a frigging monster game against IU. I'm looking at him. Drake Bowen's going to do Drake Bowen things. Xavier Watts is going to do Xavier Watts things. But I'm looking for Howard Cross and Josh Burnham to have huge games this Friday.
I like the Burnham choice too.
Yeah,
I like the Josh Burnham choice. I really think that he is sprouted into a well-rounded football player. And I mean, my best memory of this season is him picking off that option pass where he just completely jumped the route. And you're like, defensive ends don't do that, guys.
He was kind of shocked when he got the ball too.
Yeah.
And then we have Bryce Young. I mean, I'm expecting Riley Mills not to punch a guy in the face. I expect Riley Mills to be in the backfield. I think we are going to be stronger up front, and it's going to be a physical ass game.
Oh yeah,
from our front 7. I know our corners and safeties are going to hit too, and that's the one thing that Al Golden teaches. He teaches these guys tackling, and it's from your defensive tackles all the way to your secondary. All of our guys tackle well.
Absolutely. Great point. You mentioned Bryce Young, and I talked to Nate about this just earlier today offline. All due respect to RJ Oben, he's been fine. Not great, not good. He's been fine, right? Bryce Young, in my opinion, should not be coming off the freaking field. I realize that he doesn't have the experience. He's 6'7", 265, and he's fast and agile, and he's an absolute friggin' monster. So I say let him get out there and just rip somebody's head off. get after the quarterback every single down. Get this guy. If you look at what he did against some of the better teams this Rourke, Caden Rourke, what's his name? Who cares?
Curtis Rourke, I think.
Curtis Kennedy. Who cares?
Yeah.
Against Ohio State, the game they lost, he threw for a whopping 68 yards.
68 yards. I was
68 yards.
Numbers too. Yeah.
He threw for 206 against a pretty bad Michigan defense. Let's see, 258 against CLT. Who the hell is CLT? So, I'm not super concerned about this. Obviously, he's not going to run. I think he has -2, -3 yards rushing this season, which that makes him very one-dimensional. And I think that plays right into our favor with get after the quarterback, let Xavier Watts, Moore, and Gray do their thing, man.
That's the biggest thing. You just answered the question on Curtis Rourke. His biggest downfall is he's Jack Cohn. Jack Cohn was proved to be a pretty good passer for us, but he had no mobility whatsoever. It was like watching Peyton Manning. I mean, I'll even throw Peyton Manning out there where we got a guy that's standing in concrete here, and I mean, he'll take sacks. He'll take sacks, guys. He's not a guy that's going to get in between the tackles and move for it. He's a straight drop back passer. I do respect his passing game, but I have no problem with us. I mean, I don't know what Golden's game plan is, but I'm guessing there's going to be some blitzing involved.
I would imagine so. Nate, let's get a little bit on, you know what? Let's save that actually. We're going to do a little bit more of a breakdown on our typical, well, I guess pregame, but it'll be on Friday randomly. We'll do our pregame. We'll kind of get into some more of the nitty gritty stats and all that fun stuff. But I think we're having some fun just talking about the game and what happened just a few minutes ago at the breaking news. If you're just joining us, you've probably already heard, but Coach Freeman was extended 4 years. He's going to be the Irish head coach for at least the next 6 years. So, no, is he going to Chicago? Is he going to this place? Is he going to that place?
No, don't go to Chicago.
No, the answer is no. He's staying in South Bend for at least the next 6 years. So, going to be good stuff. Nate or Jeff, you're going to the game. What's the weather forecast looking like right now?
It is going to be a high of 32 degrees with a low of 20 and a possibility of snow. So, I already have in mind what I'm going to wear, but it may fluctuate on that Friday morning when I wake up and just feel it outside. I like to take my 3 to 5 mile walks a day, and I did it last week when the weather's got below 20. So I'm conditioned. I feel like I'm in a conditioned mode right now, where I could just take this weather but that's a Midwestern kid in me. So I mean, I'm used to it. I'm used to hell. Give me below freezing temperatures, or below freezing wind chills and stuff. I mean, I've seen it all.
Oh, we had every intention of being there. We had a good friend of ours be able to get us some tickets, and we were ready to roll. And then we looked at ticket prices for the plane and cars, and it was absolutely out of control.
That's brutal. And I mean, it's just a shame to see fans that pour a lot of their energy into on Saturdays and even Monday through Friday and even on Sunday. I know you guys are big Bolt fans, but I mean, who says that you're not thinking about Notre Dame football Monday through Sunday? Because honestly, I am. I'm always scrolling Twitter, and it hurt me when you sent me that text, and I won't say it brought a tear to my eye, but it makes your stomach drop a little bit, because I was excited for you guys, because this is I mean, it's such a monumental event for not only Notre Dame, but just the college football landscape. Like, we're finally seeing college football playoff with teams hosting. Like, we only get that in FCS and Division II and Division III, and I think I've been on the side of that where my brother, who played collegiately, those home games matter. Those home games that they get to host matter. And he played at NIU for a year and went to St. Xavier, and St. Xavier was a powerhouse NAIA school, and we would see a team from Southern Oregon come into Chicago, Illinois, in the southeast suburbs, and it mattered. I mean, those kids from Oregon weren't fazed by the cold, but I mean, that's travel, that's jet lag. They don't have the finances to really mess with that. And I mean, yeah, Indiana's a bus trip away, but which isn't the advantageous part. But they're going to have to go into a stadium that's not Bart Kaufman Stadium where there's 40,000 people. They're going to be in a stadium with close to what 83 to 85, I think, is what our capacity is, and I'm sure, I'm pretty sure that a lot of that stadium is going to be Notre Dame,
I think
because
so.
and that'll bring up a whole nother topic where I'm pretty sure that yes, we are price gauging the hell out of the stub hubs and what other world. And do I want this advantage? Absolutely. But Aaron Lynch, now I'm jumping across, he made a great point. I don't know if you guys heard Aaron Lynch talk earlier in the week. I got a text message saying Aaron Lynch, one of our formidable offensive linemen back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Aaron Taylor?
Aaron Taylor, yes, sorry.
I was like, Aaron Lynch? Who cares about Aaron Lynch?
Aaron Taylor. Aaron Lynch was a Chicago Bears washout. Aaron Taylor's. Did you guys hear that? What he said about Notre Dame Stadium? He's exactly right. I mean, I think, Jason, you've been a lifelong fan. You're a little bit older than Nate and I. I bet those games in the late 80s and early 90s, and I had lunch with my dad and asked him this. When you entered Notre Dame Stadium, it was already like your ears were ringing, because people were energized and into that game. Now, do I think a lot of the outside factors have a play in this, like the in-game DJ and the in-game host that likes to interview kids when we're up 24-21 and it's a third down and we call a timeout? They need to kind of play that out a little bit more. And I will say, but pre-Jumbotron days, I think Notre Dame was loud as hell. Now that we have that Jumbotron, I think a lot of people are caught looking and that kind of stuff, and just be loud. I mean, if there's anything I could say to the Notre Dame fans that are coming on this, is just be loud, because I think the players feed off of energy, and
100%.
I think Marcus Freeman feeds off of energy. Hell, he fed off of the A&M energy from their fan base. I mean, he loves that. So I don't know. What's your guys' take on that?
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing in sports is home field advantage. I don't care what sport it is, NFL, college football, college basketball, baseball. It really doesn't matter. I think it's the home field advantage is huge. Coming from a fan, an NFL fan, that their stadium gets overtaken by opposing fans, it can't happen. It can't happen against Indiana. There can't be red in South Bend. But going back to the fans being quiet, I've noticed that, and I think what they're trying to do with the in-game host and the DJ, all that stuff, they're trying to appeal to the youth and stuff like that, which I get. It makes sense. But I also think the Jumbotron at times, for the people on that side of the stadium, it's kind of it's draining out their noise.
Which is me, because I'm right below there, and I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. And I talked to an Alabama fan, who I happen to know, and we get along well, and he's like, because he goes to a lot of the Notre Dame games too, because he has a relationship with one of the players, and we have a conversation just about the draining of the noise. And when you think of Notre Dame as a whole, Notre Dame goes like this, and that noise filters out, because when you walk to, for instance, the Gold Lot like I do, I could hear that thing from all the way the hell out. I mean, I could hear the announcer and everything from way back out there. So, I mean, there's some noises filtered out. And if you look at Alabama has more of an enclosed. So everything's like ricocheting all over the field. So I'm not going to get scientific with it, but Notre Dame's more of an open concept field. So a lot of that noise kind of filters outward rather than in. And I think the Jumbotron's another good statement, but still no excuse. I expect a rowdy crowd that I saw at Ohio State and even USC last year.
Yeah, Nate and I were at the Ohio State game last year, and it was definitely rowdy. They had the
It was different.
Yeah, they had the wristbands. They did the wristband power and light show and all that good stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, even we went out for Stanford and Virginia this year, and this year in particular, something seems different in terms of just the crowd. It doesn't seem like there's as many of the hey, I'm down in front, sit down type thing. People seem to be pretty fired up and understanding that we need to create that environment again. And I think that whole cheese and wine crowd, so to speak, is a little bit overblown at this point. I think it still happens. Don't get me wrong, and it definitely does happen. Yes. But I don't think it's as impactful as people may think it is. I mean, we'll see, but I don't think we're going to see a Nebraska, a Georgia from a few years ago. I think you're going to see way more green, even though it's going to be 22 degrees than you had for sure. So anyway,
yeah, and I think that's a great point. And the cheese and wine crowd, and there's still quite a few of those, and you know what, the rowdy ones that sit at the top of the bowl that had to spend life savings on getting to this playoff game, put those people down.
Yeah, exactly.
Put those people down.
Last thing I wanted to say on the game environment, and then we'll get out of here to go enjoy the Marcus Freeman extension news. But is I'm really interested to see too, like what kind of pregame festivities they're going to have. Are they going to do the drum circle? Are they going to do trumpets? Are they going to do all the fun things and all the great pageantry that we enjoy so much about game days? I would assume yes.
So here's the thing. I saw there were numerous posts on this about in-game. The player walk is going to go on as usual. I will look into and post it either on our Facebook page or message one of you guys about it. It seems like all of the events outside of the game are business as usual. The biggest differences I've seen are IU will get their quote unquote hype video when they come out, which is something that's going to be different. It's going to be funny to watch them exit one by one out of that small ass tunnel though. Notre Dame will get their usual entrance. And then, for instance, any Notre Dame facing ads will be replaced by the CFP. CFP ads. So there are some restrictions, I think, on. I don't believe that there's going to be any in-game entertainment like we have seen. And I'm gonna check in to see about just the type of third down crowd music. Like they always play the same song. I wonder if that's gonna come into play because I didn't really dive into it that much. I did see that the player walk and everything's per usual, but I'll look at Notre Dame's website and check that out.
Yeah, keep us posted. Go on if you want to post that. That'd be great. We'd appreciate that, just so everybody kind of knows what's up. I mean, there's a guy that's going to be coming out. One of our good buddies. We're going to have him on. He was at the SC game checking in. First time ever going to a game in South Bend is going to be this Friday again in the playoffs. I think it's tremendous.
That's incredible.
It is, man. So he's going to just. I mean, it's going to suck though, because like if he goes to freaking Missouri one year, whoever we're playing at home.
Sure.
What happened to all the pageantry? What's going on?
Yeah.
There's still nothing like a Notre Dame home game, man. So
no, and I hope they allow that. Oh, both bands will play at halftime. I did see that. Both bands will play at halftime and be allowed into the game. So I did see that. So that part of the game will be in play.
That works. That's cool. All right, man. Well, we're going to let you go. We're a little bit over the 30-minute mark, which we usually like to stay at. But this was fun, man. Thanks so much for joining us, Jeff. We appreciate you. And, we'll see you on the Twitter, chat, whatever boards.
Well, I'll be in contact with you guys, I'm sure.
We'll be in touch.
Probably
all right,
30
buddy.
seconds later.
Most likely. All right, man. Have a great night.
Take care.
All right, bye. All right, that was our good buddy Jeff Strubajek. Thanks everybody for jumping in. I want to read this one from Dan Feast. Got tickets and bookstore tailgate pass. So pumped. Such a once-in-a-lifetime game. I live in Mishawaka. We're buzzing, bro. It's going to be the loudest Indy Stadium has ever been. I have no doubt that it's going to be a party, man. It's going to be great. So thank you guys all for jumping on. We're going to get out of here. We're going to do our pregame show on Friday, probably about 45 minutes to an hour before the game. Like I said, kind of an unusual environment that'll be on a Friday, but I mean, it's going to be fun, man. This is just It's going to be a very hard week at work because I'm going to have a really difficult time concentrating. Thankfully, it's a short week, and then I'll be off for a couple weeks for vacation. So hopefully this week goes by fast for all of us. We can get into game mode on Friday, beat Indiana, and then get on with the rest of this whole thing. So again, if you're just joining us, you probably have heard the news by now, but Marcus Freeman, head coach, has been extended for 4 years, meaning he will be with the Irish for at least another 6 years. Huge for recruiting, huge for the overall atmosphere of the team. In my opinion, like I said earlier on the show, huge for the excitement going into the game now too. This is our guy, this is our coach, we're rallying, all that kind of stuff. So good stuff, man. Good time to be an Irish fan for sure. So yeah, we'll see you guys throughout the week. Tune into the page. We want to try to get to 20,000 before the game. We're very close as far as Facebook goes, 20,000 followers. We're very close. So if you know anybody that isn't following the page, please share and invite them. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Everybody have a blessed week. Thanks for all your support. Go Irish, beat Hoosiers. Oh, yeah, and wear green all week, and especially on Friday.